have coming in. That's confirmed reports, I repeat, confirmed reports of nuclear detonations in New York and Pennsylvania. My God.
Hello all and welcome back to Broadside, the channel where we uncover some of the history that you can find in some popular video games. Today we are focusing on Sanctuary. We're going to go through what this place would look like in the 1770s, in the modern day in 2023, then we're going to jump into 2077, and in the far off future of 2287. Without any further ado, let's jump back into Assassin's Creed 3 and see what the area of Sanctuary looked like. Jumping back into the 1770s, we get to explore the town of Concord as it would have looked like just before the American Revolution. As we know, Nate and Nora are natives to Concord, Massachusetts in 2077, and we are visiting their hometown roughly 300 years beforehand. Sanctuary, which is the name of the neighborhood that those two live in, does not exist at this point in time in actual history. We know that it is located on the other side of the North Bridge in the town of Concord, and so we will head over to that structure and look at the area as it was in 1770. Moving across the bridge from the town center of Concord and over to where Sanctuary would be, instead of the flourishing cul-de-sac, which we live in 2077 and later in 2287, we have one or two farm buildings, nothing major developed. There is traffic that goes across this bridge. That will change in our lifetime before we diverge from the Fallout universe. But we cover that all in a specific video on the Concord Bridge that I will link here. For now, let's just say that there hasn't been a lot of development in Sanctuary. It doesn't look like it's going to become a neighborhood, maybe just one or two farms or just homesteads in general for locals who are trying to make their way in early United States history. From this position to the left of the bridge from our point of view is where the neighborhood of Sanctuary would exist 300 years from now. And from this angle as well, likely this is where one of the houses across the street from Nate and Nora would be. But obviously right now it is currently a cliff in 1770s America. In our time period, the area that is or would become Sanctuary is a public park. It is the other side of the bridge from the old manse. It is actually where the Minuteman statue is, instead of across the road and closer to Concord like it is seen in 2077. But this open field floods dramatically with the Concord. It can freeze too during the wintertime, but it is a far cry from a beautiful, well-maintained neighborhood that it would become in the Fallout universe. As I have mentioned in the Concord Bridge video, this path is strictly for pedestrians. There's no vehicle traffic here. There hasn't been vehicle traffic across the North Bridge in hundreds of years. In fact, this bridge didn't exist for quite a long time, so right now it is just an area where pedestrians can walk across and learn about the events that happened in 1775 at the Battle of Concord. No neighborhood, which is a shame, although if you were looking to buy into this area in 2024, it would be massively expensive. Okay, and welcome to the end of the world, 2077. We get to explore Sanctuary in the brief time that we can, just before Fallout 4 really picks up. So as we can see, it is a traditional cul-de-sac in that number of different residential structures, roughly, evenly spaced apart. Obviously, as is today, the people of Concord have to be relatively well off to live here, and it looks like no one's really hurting for funds. The streets are well maintained. It's odd, to say the least, that Concord decided to create a neighborhood right in and around this area, as it is definitely prone to flooding and has been for hundreds of years, but nonetheless, they've built up the land quite a lot, as we can see, and yeah, must not have to deal with those problems in 2077 in the Fallout universe. And if we walk down the street a little, we can even see the North Bridge. Unfortunately, at this stage of the game, if you were to walk over there, the bombs would drop and you'd be automatically killed. So we can just get a decent glance at Sanctuary's entrance, and yes, this road leads directly up and over the North Bridge, making it a useful structure for the first time in, yeah, hundreds of years, as I've mentioned before. So, not that it isn't useful for teaching purposes, but just in general, the town uses it more. 200 plus years in the future, the Old North Bridge, the Concord River, and the world have seen better days. That is also true for our little cul-de-sac of Sanctuary. As we approach, we can see that traffic is not moving anymore because most of the vehicles are completely destroyed. We can still see the Sanctuary sign, and we can see some of the structures that I've put up in my playthrough, but in general, Sanctuary is a shell of itself. And this is the Sanctuary that you probably know the best and are most familiar with. The Sanctuary where we encounter Codsworth, where we bring the Minutemen back for refuge purposes, where we build our first settlement. This is the heart of Fallout 4. This is where it really starts, where it really kicks off. And let's take a little walk around and see how it has fared. Most of the houses are currently either dilapidated in total or gutted after 200 years of just people working their way through and trying to find the scraps that they can just to make a living. We can go up this man-made structure, the structure that I created, just to get a little overview of the area. Looking at the banks of the River Concord, we can see that when they built this neighborhood, they added more land and tried to channelize the river a little bit more. Obviously, 200 years since the apocalypse, it is falling apart, and the river is kind of reclaiming its original boundary in that it really didn't have one. You know, it spreads out quite far and wide. The structures that are man-made have seen better days, obviously. Surprisingly, there are still trees around, even though they aren't looking very healthy. And the town of Concord is just over the bridge, as it is in real life. And in our universe, on the other side of that river is the Old Manse and just some other historical sites that are noteworthy if you're willing to visit. And that will do it today for our look at Sanctuary through the ages and through the universes. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you liked the video, subscribe for more similar content, and I hope you have a great day.